In today's video, we are going to discuss one of my favorite topics when it comes to whole life insurance, which is building a policy for high cash value. I should rephrase, building a policy for maximum cash value. So what we're going to talk about is actually an individual situation which is very similar to what individuals we work with go through with respect to the questions they ask, what they're interested in, how they want to use the policy. And what I'll start with when it comes to a whole life insurance policy and specifically what someone is interested in. Up top, we've got, I'm interested in a policy for, typically it's real estate and or an individual's business, if it's a business owner. But with that said, when one is interested in a policy, say it's for real estate, the number one goal is not showing loans and how they could use the policy for real estate. I want to make sure we show that very, very quickly. But the number one goal is this: maximizing the cash value of the policy, because if the cash value is maximized, both short-term and long-term, what that does for the policyholder is give them as much money as possible to work with. So now when it comes time to actually take advantage of the opportunities that they see, say it's real estate, if they've got more money in cash value they can access, well, that allows them to expand into the marketplace or into that opportunity that they see available at a more aggressive pace. So let's get on into it. I'm interested in a policy for, typically it is real estate, but it could be a number of things. That's very common though, what we see as far as individuals we work with. My goal is to maximize the cash value. Here's what I want to do with the funding. I want to fund up to $100,000 per year. However, I want the policy to be flexible. Flexibility. This is an extremely important item to note with a whole life insurance policy, because when you hear the word whole life insurance, typically what comes to mind for the average consumer is what? I pay a premium. It's a boring bill. I have to pay that premium every month, every year. If this was you, this 40-year-old individual, would you want a policy where you want to be able to pay up to $100,000 per year to maximize the cash value, but you're committed to pay that $100,000 per year? Probably not, because now it feels like a burden. And this is relative to whatever dollar amount you're considering, if it's $10,000 per year or if it's $1 million per year. How do I ensure that the policy is very flexible? So we are going to hit on that, and we'll look at the exact company and product we're going to review. Here's what the individual would like to do with respect to a funding period, which is I would like to fund the policy between 5 and 10 years at that $100,000 per year. However, I might want to continue to pay into the policy at $10,000 per year beginning year 11. After I max fund it, if I get $100,000 in for 10 years, how much is that? That's $1 million into a whole life insurance policy. And then, by the way, here's the bonus illustration. We'll call it this. What would it look like if I throw a $500,000 lump sum into the policy right out of the gates and then continue to pay $100,000 per year? So if he starts with a very large lump sum, what would that look like? Now, on the topic of building a high cash value life insurance policy, this information is extremely valuable. If we don't have this information up front, we've got to ask for it or really help guide you through the process so we can gather the needed information to put this policy together. But if we have this, we can prepare some illustrations. So in a case like this, we would show a number of options. In this particular case, we're going to look at a Guardian L95 policy because we've seen a lot of people gravitate toward this particular company and product in a case like this, with this word being a key word, flexible. So Guardian is one of the 4 major mutual companies. The other 3 are Mass Mutual, New York Life, and Northwestern Mutual. When you look at the 4 major mutuals, I'm a big fan of them because we've seen them consistently deliver strong actual cash values to policyholders, not just good-looking illustrations. We've seen that proof of performance there, which is very, very big when it comes to whole life insurance products, meaning making sure that that cash value delivers. The L95 policy is a nice option because it does deliver strong upfront cash value without sacrificing too much long-term performance. So his goal is to do what? With respect to the funding, I want to be able to fund up to $100,000 per year, but I want it flexible. So based on the rules of the game, meaning when we look at this particular Guardian product, if I want it flexible, when we design the policy, what we'll do, if this is your policy, we'll set it up in a manner where you're committed to the minimum, which will be approximately $10,000, and then at your discretion, you can fund up to $100,000 per year. The base premium, whatever that dollar figure is, will not show up in cash value in the first year, or a very small percentage of it will. So with the whole life insurance policy, a lot of people are not aware of this, is you, the policyholder, can actually choose where your money goes. It can be directed toward the base premium, which first buys a whole life death benefit, and then you'll see beginning the second year, that premium comes back to cash value, it starts to compound, but the first year, it's satisfying the primary expenses of the policy. So we don't see any cash value in the first year. We've got a term insurance rider attached. The purpose of this is that it is an inexpensive method to raise the death benefit, which raises our MEC limit. That MEC limit is that taxable limit on a life insurance policy. If we go over that MEC limit, we lose some of the tax advantages that come with the cash value of a life insurance policy. I would check out any of our videos that go through the modified endowment contract or policy design for more information on that. But this is a very important piece, especially if we want to reduce the base premium as much as we can, which is typically the goal. The more I reduce that base premium, what happens? Well, I lessen that upfront hit, which allows me to get more of my payment toward cash value right out of the gates. So base premium and term rider will be at approximately $10,000 per year. That's your minimum commitment. And then here, our PUA, which stands for paid up additions, our PUA rider equals cash value right out of the gates. Now, quick side note here, you will not see 100% of your PUA payment show up in cash value. Depending on the PUA rider you select, because you have the option to pick either a 10% or 5% PUA fee, depending on which option you select, you'll typically see somewhere between 90 and 95% of your PUA payment show up in cash value immediately. So you'll see that when we look at the illustrations. Here's a quick overview here when we look at the two riders. So most we work with, just from looking at our statistics, will select the 5% PUA fee. But if you want a quick overview on the two, the 10% PUA fee offers greater long-term potential, especially when we look at the non-guaranteed side of an illustration. The first year cash value, if the policy is designed for maximum cash value, will typically be somewhere between 82 and 83%. The break-even point will often fall between 5 and 6 years. The 5% PUA fee, however, will provide stronger upfront cash value. It will provide stronger guaranteed values. That's a big selling point for a lot of people. The first year cash value, on average, falls between 87 and 88%, with a break-even between 4 and 5 years in many cases. So what that means is if we look at this particular case, if I'm funding $100,000 per year, if I go with a 10% PUA fee, what's your first year cash value? At 82 to 83%, let's round up, you'd be at about $83,000, which no matter how you slice that, how much of a hit is that in the first year? $17,000. So that's what we have to ask ourselves, are we comfortable with it? Whereas if we have the 5% PUA fee, and we see between 87 and 88% show up in cash value, what does that mean? It's $88,000. How much of a hit? About $12,000. Not as difficult as of a pill to swallow, is it? No. But that's the important item to be aware of. And what we do like to do is compare those two options if you'd like to see them. Because whichever option we select, we are locked into that for the life of the policy. So what we're going to look at in this option, or in this case study, is primarily the 5% PUA fee. But here we go. We're going to look at three options. Option A, 100K per year for 5 years. Option B, 100K per year for 10 years, and then 10K per year thereafter. We'll actually run that up until age 65, and that's optional. And then 500K in the first year, followed by $100,000 per year thereafter. And what I did here was aim to get a total of $1.5 million into the policy. So these will be three pretty cool illustrations to look at. And they're nice options if you're considering a policy and you want to make sure it's flexible, but you want to see what it looks like if you get a certain dollar amount in. That's the purpose of these illustrations. So let's take a look here. So let's look at the 5-year and 10-year funding scenario first, because this will be really beneficial. There we go. Beginning with the 5-year funding scenario. As we look at this, on the illustration, what do we see? 100K per year for 5 years. My question is this: if I'm you, where is my money going? You're illustrating $100,000 per year going into the policy. You just told me it can primarily go toward the base premium, which does not show up in cash value in the first year, or toward that PUA rider. Oh yeah, and I got this term rider attached too. Exactly how does that work? So, quick overview here, because this is a really important piece. Here's the premium up here, $9,000 and change. That premium is not showing up in cash value. There's a small portion, but it's about $320, $319 in the first year. So there's your base premium. In the first year, it does not show up in cash value. Beginning the second year, you'll see the majority of it come back to cash value. But the first year, nothing there. The reason why is because the premium is primarily satisfying the whole life death benefit. Here is our term insurance rider. Remember the purpose of a term rider? Cost-effective way to add more life insurance to the policy, which is a cost-effective way to raise the MEC limit. So when you add the whole life death benefit and the term rider together, what do you come up with? A net death benefit, $2,050,000. There you go. Kind of an oddball number, but point is this. We've got the death benefit set at the minimum amount to give us that MEC limit of 100K. So let's get back to the numbers. 100,000 per year going in. First year cash value. Here's your money column. There's the 88% right out of the gates. Stopped the funding altogether after 5 years. You can continue to pay if you want to, but we stopped it in this example. Now, before we look at the 10-year funding scenario, I want to highlight something here. Net death benefit is what? $2,050,000. Base premium is what? About $9,100. Keep those figures in mind. Start with the premium. Here's the 10-year funding illustration. Did that premium change? Did not. Still $9,000 and change. What changed? It's the same product here. Well, here's your term rider. And look at your net death benefit in the far right. It's not $2,050,000. Just over $3.1 million. So if we're going to fund for a longer period of time, and this is somewhat specific to Guardian, we do need to raise the death benefit in order to do that. Prevents a MEC. Also, it has to do with Guardian's limitations and their term rider. We've got other videos that really get into details on that. But my point is, if we want the ability to go for a longer time, we do need to raise the death benefit. And what we don't want to do is increase the base premium, because that takes the biggest bite out of your cash value up front. So if we can raise the death benefit at a lower cost through a term insurance rider, that allows us to still direct more of our money toward our paid up additions rider, which now we've got almost 88% in the first year. Pretty interesting stuff, right? And then we've got the large lump sum PUA payment too. So let's take a look here at our Excel workbook. So here we've got option A, 100K per year for 5 years. This is what we just looked at, with one difference, or some additional columns, I should say. Same illustration, just on Excel. The difference is we've got 2 columns that have helped a lot of people. I've got my cash value growth, which isolates what the cash value is growing by each year net, meaning what you are receiving from the insurance company. So for example, you pay in $100,000 in the first year, you've got $88,000 in change, which comes out to just about an $11,700 loss, isolating that particular year. That's the hit you took. Total gain in the first year, it's identical, negative $11,000 in change. Policy year 2, you pay in $100,000. Your cash value was 88 and change. Now it's 190 and change. You got your full 100K back and a little bit more than 2,000. Here's the exact dollar figure, 2304. However, when we look at the gain, it's negative 9375. The reason why is when we look at policy year 2, your total payments are $200,000. Your total cash value is $190,625, where when we take the difference there, here's what you come up with, the 9375. So the total gain is always going to look at what the cash value is and your total payments. So what's highlighted in yellow represents your break-even point. By year 4, you're at 405 in cash value. You've paid in 400. That's why you have a gain of $5,045. Now here's what I'll add. It gets a whole lot easier in year 6, tracking the growth that is. And the reason why is because we're not paying anything in. So if you look at year 6, what's your cash value? Let me back up. Year 5, what's your cash value? 519 and change. How much do you pay in year 6? Nothing. Goose egg. What's your cash value the next year? 538. So the actual cash value growth would be the difference between 519 and 538. So what do you see in total growth? There you go. $19,504. The gain is $38,778, meaning that you have paid a total of $500,000 into the policy. Your cash value is 538 and change. That 38,000 and change is the gain on your policy. Pretty neat, right? And then it continues to appreciate over time. So that's the 5-year fund. Here's option B, the 10-year fund. We'll see this grow at a faster pace. There's a larger dollar amount in these 2 columns. And the reason why is because you've pumped more money into the product in this illustration. Significantly more when we look at it. Option A, we got a total of $500,000 in. Option B, you get almost $1.2 million in when we look at it. And you don't have to fund that long either. And then let's wrap up with option C, which is that large lump sum, which was, hey, just show me what it looks like. Might not go with this option, but they would like to see it. So here we go. $500K in the first year. There's a $10,000 base premium in this particular example. So when we look at this, first year, $500,000 in, cash value, almost $475. It's about a $25,000 hit, which comes out to just a 5% loss. There's about 95% of his initial payment in cash value if we were to crunch it with a calculator. And then by year 3, we see that it's positive, meaning he's got more money in the product than what he's paid into it. So that's a beautiful option for breaking even early. Now, with all that said, what we'll also look at is a case like this. Well, we'll look at this, which is the exact same product we just looked at, or same options, but just based on the guarantees. This provides really a worst case scenario, displaying what it would look like if you funded the policy as illustrated, but the company only applied the guaranteed rate, meaning they never paid any dividends, and they also charged the maximum allowable rates they can for term insurance riders that are attached. It's a worst case scenario. High expenses, minimum guaranteed interest rate, but it is good to look at if you like to approach things in a very conservative manner, which I know with whole life insurance, a lot of people do. Because if we look at it and the guarantees don't kill us, meaning we say, hey, I'm okay with that over time, especially knowing that it's always done better. If this is it, then I'm good with it. Where people typically get that sick feeling in their stomach is when they see something like this after the fact. Meaning we don't want to feel like we were just shown the best case scenario, never shown the guaranteed values, or it was just brushed over very quickly. And then we find out later, it's like, oh no, I just wanted to know up front more than anything else. I hope that this video was helpful. If you'd like to build a high cash value policy with us, or if you'd like us to prepare some examples for you, please visit our website, ibcglobalinc.com, and click the Start Here button. Everyone we work with, we do ask that they go through that initial intake form first, just because it's our way of really collecting information up front, and it lets us know that you have been doing research too, and you've got a good sense of what you're looking for. You don't need to know exactly what you'd like. Some people do, but you don't need to know that. That is just our initial process in working with individuals. So I do hope that this video was helpful. Let us know if you have any questions at all. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Hey guys, Steve Parisi here. If you enjoyed the content you just saw, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you'd like more information or to see some custom policies for yourself, feel free to call or email our offices at the contact information below.